Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. I'm joined by my longtime friend, comedian, and returning guest to the show, Rosie Tran. Rosie, how you doing today?
Hey, Graham, I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be back on the show and talk about something I'm really passionate about that I think your listeners and watchers would enjoy learning about.
Well, it's great because I think the first time you were on the show was over the summer, like maybe June or something like that, July maybe. I was just starting to get more knowledgeable about cryptocurrency. Um, and in that time, I've had Christy I, who's on the show Boom Bust, who's talked to us about crypto. I've started to talk more about it. I've even been investing more and encouraged my audience to get more knowledgeable about it because there's a pending financial collapse coming.
Yes.
Since we're printing trillions of dollars. And
actually, not just trillions, we've actually printed more in the last 6 months than we have in the past 11 years, Graham. So it's really scary what's going on. And every single country that has printed money like this has collapsed. So this is not a conspiracy theory. This is not crazy. You just open a history book and see when governments print like crazy, the economy and the system collapses. So it's not a sound economic policy, but we have some people who are what's called these Keynesian economists who I believe are very corrupt, and they push credit, debt, and printing. And so it's really scary who the government is listening to.
Yeah, and I'm watching and hearing all these people talk, and it's not just like, lefty economists like Richard Wolff or whatever. It's like, Wall Street people are like, man, this is bad. This isn't going to go well. And, so we've just printing all this money. And which is why Bitcoin is really on the rise. Bitcoin, I mean, since the last time we talked, it's gone from probably trading at around 10,000 the last time we talked to now.
It's almost doubled.
Yeah, it's almost doubled. It's in the 18 to 19,000 range. There might be a correction coming, but all these people are talking about it. I mean, when I see like Raoul Paul, used to be like the head of Goldman Sachs, say it's going to be worth 100,000 a coin, 1 million a coin. I mean, I don't know. That all sounds crazy to me, but I see how it could work. So Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general are becoming very strong and powerful. And it was designed, obviously, we talked about this the last time, Satoshi, or this person or persons who created this, clearly was doing it. And some suggest, I watched this guy Da Vinci, this YouTuber crypto guy, who thinks that Satoshi was NSA, who was like knowing, who's like, this is how they operate their power. So I'm going to build something. He had to be smart enough to create this, to make it so it's the way it was created, the blockchain and the halving every 7 years, and the fact that people can use it all over the world. I mean, it's one of the things you brought up the first time you were on this show is all the billions of people that are unbanked, and it empowers them. And so I think a lot of governments are going, oh, wow, there's, China's talking about it, digital, all these countries are talking about the CDB, the central bank digital currency, CBDC.
Yes. Right? So that is not the same thing as crypto. And I'm really, really glad you brought that up because unfortunately, Graham, as you and I know, and as I was at one point, and so were you, a lot of people aren't that, they're confused by digital currency.
Sure.
So they don't really understand it. And so the Fed is trying to come up with this Fed coin. It's really scary. And so they're trying to come up with these digital currencies, and they're saying, hey, look, this is a digital currency. This is just like Bitcoin. But we control it. The Fed controls it, And so we know how that goes and how scary that is because they're a very corrupt organization. They've caused most of the income inequality that's existed in society. And you mentioned something, I'm glad you got a call back to the unbanked, because as I was doing research into this extremely corrupt Stablecoin Act that I would like to discuss on the show, I found out, did you get a chance to read that article or that op-ed, that I sent you?
Yes, I did. And we're going to get into that. I actually did a video on it about the Democrats, how hate Black people. And we're going to talk that's the main reason I'm having Rosie on the show, everybody, is we're going to talk about this Stablecoin Act. But I want to give everybody sort of a little background and history lesson, because some of my audience is knowledgeable about crypto. Some of them is not at all. Some people are sort of new to it the way I am.
Yeah.
So I want to give everybody that background, but we are going to get into the Stablecoin Act and how it's bullshit. because that's the background. It's like you seeing how powerful crypto is, and then you see how much of a threat it is to central governments and central banks. Specifically, the American empire has used money and banks to fuel wars and regime change and all that stuff, which is why they're doing these central bank digital currencies. As you're saying, they're not crypto or digital because cryptocurrency is transparent using the blockchain, right? So can you explain the difference between that?
So one of the reasons that Bitcoin and crypto is considered the people's money is because it's decentralized. And all that means is that no one controls it. Everyone who holds it is basically part of the system. So you own Bitcoin, you're part of the system. But we're part of a system that's outside the system, right? So you're not, this cryptocurrency is decentralized. Everyone who owns it owns a part of it, and no one government controls it. So right now, our money is centralized. The US dollar is controlled by the Federal Reserve Bank. And I would say that most of the world's currency is controlled by the United States Federal Reserve Bank, because the USD is what's called the reserve currency. So the petrodollar is tied to the US dollar, and a lot of countries trade in USD as well, not just their local currencies. And so the American Federal Reserve is able to manipulate global systems and global finance. And not just that, but they're able to say who is allowed to be part of our banking system and who isn't. So that op-ed talked about, there's countries in the Caribbean where people can't even send their own relatives money because the Federal Reserve is saying, no, you're too risky, or other countries in Africa where they're saying you're too risky. And so they're saying that these people don't belong as part of the financial system, and they don't deserve financial services. And so because they don't deserve financial services, they have to go through these back alleys and pay MoneyGram, Western Union, payday lenders up to 10% sometimes of their income just to send, a cousin money or relative money. So I'm not sure how someone who's in poverty deserves to pay 10%, upwards of 10% of their hard-earned capital to a shady intermediary because they're not worthy. So it's a very racist system. It's a very, very income inequality driven. And the people who deserve to be part of the financial system tend to be very wealthy, very white, and very male. So the Federal Reserve really is creating more and more and more income inequality. And that's just part of it. This inflationary policy of printing and printing and printing, this is what makes the rich richer and the poor poor. I remember Bernie saying constantly, the rich get richer and the poor get poor. And this is when I started getting into crypto, and I was like, but how? How do they get richer, and how do the poor keep getting poor? And it's not only this inflationary policy, but these transfers of wealth that we talked about privately before, I got on this call. And a lot of people don't understand the system because it's so convoluted and they don't teach it in school. And there's a reason they don't teach finance or the banking system in school. Instead, they teach us, these complicated, math formulas that no one ever uses, because they don't want you to be educated and know what is going on, because it's really, really scary. I believe Henry Ford of the Ford Motor Company has that famous quote where he says, if people knew how the banking system worked, they'd be in the street writing.
Yes. I mean, we could talk for hours about the Federal Reserve and all that, but so that gives us a nice framework of why Bitcoin specifically, but cryptocurrency in general, is a threat to their central banking. And I mean, even you talk about the payday lenders. I mean, those are in, poor neighborhoods in the States. I mean, you see that, and you see how they're kept out of it. And it's funny, you don't see check cashing and MoneyGram in the richer neighborhoods, even just in LA, right?
It's designed like that. Yeah,
absolutely designed like that. So, and again, it's like somebody who lives and works in America or some Western country, and they've got a decent job or whatever, wants to send money back to a third world country. They're charged all these fees, and with cryptocurrency, the fees are nominal.
It's pennies. You can send $1 million or $1, and it's going to cost you pennies. Yeah. Also, because crypto is decentralized and no one controls it, no one can say, no, Graham, I'm not going to give you money. And so as I'm sure you've talked about redlining and other racist policies on your show. And so it's an algorithm. It's just math. So if I want to go and I want to put my money into crypto or crypto lending system like a stablecoin, it's not going to say, oh, Rosie checked off this box, that she's Asian American, why is that box even on there? When you apply for a loan, there's a box that says, are you Hispanic? Are you Black? Why is that on there? It doesn't make any sense. And so with crypto, you don't have to check any boxes. It doesn't matter or care who you are, as long as it's anonymous.
Yes. So let's now get into, first explain what a stable coin is, how it's different from Bitcoin, and then why this Stablecoin Act is so horrific.
Okay, so unfortunately, I have to do a little bit of a history lesson before I get into that. So I'll do it really quick. But the way the traditional banking system works is we have a fractional reserve banking system. So Graham, if you put $1 at Wells Fargo, Chase, or any corporate bank in America, they take your dollar and they only need to hold 10% in their bank reserve, and then they go and lend that money out and make sometimes up to 10 times as much money on your dollar than you do. And I don't know, Graham, but do you ever see any of that profit?
No, the interest rates are really low right now. I don't know. It's weird.
You don't get anything. You get nothing. You get the benefit of using a checking account at their bank. So that's what you get in return. So you get to use their banking services for free, even though they charge late fees and other things. But they then take that money and they loan it for commercial lending, for home loans, for other things. They take that interest and they put it in their pocket. So what a stablecoin is a stablecoin is usually 1-to-1, so $1 US to one coin. So some stablecoins are USD coin. There's like hundreds of them. And so the stablecoins do exactly what the traditional banking system does, but you get the profit. So I'll give you an example. USD coin, right now, they're paying 10% interest on websites like Abra. And so you put your dollar into stablecoin, they go and lend it out to other projects, and then you get the interest. So the interest doesn't go to Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, or another person. It's your money, and you get the interest on your money. So that is a huge transformation from the traditional banking system.
Yeah, and it's a thing that can lift people out of poverty. It's a thing that and we've been told, oh, look how great capitalism and globalization has lifted people out of poverty. Well, it's temporary. And this is a long-term solution for that. I mean, this is like anybody. You just need $10 or $50 or whatever, and you can earn interest on that. And then you can build your portfolio as people start paying attention. They can like go on these exchanges, which I've started to do a little bit. I've started to trade and see how that works. It's not that complicated once you get a handle on it. So it's another version of where cryptocurrency empowers the 99%.
Correct. And not just that, but it's your money and you get the interest. Why do you, when you put your bank in Wells Fargo, does Wells Fargo get the interest and you don't get the interest? That doesn't make any sense. They're using your money, Graham. And so this is what is so different about stablecoins. So stablecoins pay different interest rates. It's, some as low as 1%, upwards of 10+%, depending on what type of stablecoin. And so when they lend that money out, you get the interest. So I think that is really, really awesome. So one of the things that scares me about the Stablecoin Act, so the Stablecoin Act was introduced by Rashida Tlaib, who is, a lot of people know her. She's part of like the squad with AOC, and she's supposed to be this progressive, new wave of the DNC. And it's what's really scaring me is that a lot of these new wave of the DNC people, they look different, they're minorities or women. And then the policies that they're pushing are not only the same policies, of the status quo, some of them are even worse. And so this is what the Stablecoin Act is doing. So Rashida Tlaib is saying that the stablecoins are dangerous, that they're risky, and they need to be regulated and put under the control of the Federal Reserve. So she's saying that this new entity that has nothing to do with the corruption of the past needs to be put under the entity that has caused all the corruption of the past. So to me, that doesn't make any sense. It seems like Stockholm syndrome, hey, the Fed has abused us, caused income inequality and racism. So now let's take this new entity and put all of the control into the hands of this very powerful and corrupt system again. So I'm not sure about you, Graham, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't. And I just I want to say, this is what the Stable Act does. It requires any prospective issuer of a stablecoin to obtain a banking charter, which defeats the whole thing of the empowerment of crypto.
The everyday person. Yes.
Everyone can do it. I don't need to create a bank. I can just do this. I can stake a coin. I can get your office from anybody out there. Oh, now you got to get a banking charter. So again, it's just to clarify what Rosie is saying to the audience. This is how they are specifically keeping the power in the hands of the central banks and the 1%.
And the corporate bankers. This is a shadow banking system that they don't like people having control of their own money, Graham. It's very scary.
Oh, they can't have this because this is what all this regulation is. It is clearly like, we don't want you empowered. It's required that any company offering stablecoin services must follow the appropriate banking regulations under the existing regulatory jurisdictions. This is why all these crypto YouTubers that I watch, they all live in like Dubai and Thailand, and they're all out of this system. Require that any company or bank issuing a stablecoin to notify and obtain approval from the Fed, the FDIC, which they'll give it to you if you're an average person. Absolutely, they'll do that because they want to help you. And the appropriate banking agency, months prior to the issuance, require that any stablecoin issuers obtain FDIC insurance. Oh God, now they want you in their bullshit insurance system. I just had my car smashed and I've had to go through that. And the insurance company's goal is to pay you the least amount of money possible. So it's this whole, this is, and what was in this article that you sent me, that was written by Deirdre Ramsey McIntyre, a woman of color.
A woman of color who is very pro-crypto. And I just want to say, Graham, I thought, Rashida Tlaib is a very intelligent woman. Yep. She's an attorney. And so I thought maybe she doesn't understand crypto. But, a lot of these people are very intelligent, Yale, Harvard graduates. They understand it. They just don't care. They're working for the shadow banking system. They're working for corporate big bankers. And that's the bottom line. Why would you say you want to help minorities and help the poor and then put something that helps minorities and the poor under the regulation of the slave masters who initially exploited the poor and exploited minorities? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's what this whole article goes into. I mean, just to show everybody, these are the people. So it's Rashida Tlaib, Jesus Garcia, Stephen Lynch, and AOC and Ayanna Pressley. Like, this is all of these people of color who we think are so amazing. And this is the thing I harp on this show, like literally every day, every episode, about how the Democratic Party can't be reformed and they're not here to help you. And this is how they trick you. They
are almost worse than the Republican Party because they, will put it on someone like AOC's face. And you think, wow, she's just like me. I'm going to vote for this.
Well, she's not going to screw me over. She's AOC. She fights for me. No, she
exactly.
Pelosi mama bear. A year and a half ago, she was calling Pelosi out on Twitter, and now she's acquiesced because this is the thing. You talk about the shadow banks. Well, they control the two-party system. So they've gotten wise to go, look, we can't just have a bunch of old white guys doing it. Just put some people of women and people of color to keep doing the same evil shit we've been doing, and this will get a large section of America to swallow it. To go, oh, thank you. There's a rainbow flag on the drone strike. Yay.
Exactly.
Like
it's crazy.
I mean, and just to quote again what this woman wrote, pushing this anti-blockchain legislation proves you hate Black people worldwide. Let me be among the first to say you have messed up. And what else this woman says, if this legislation passes, Black people will be the most penalized because Black people have more to gain from blockchain and cryptocurrency technology than nearly any other demographic. And what I would add to that is what you and I were talking about earlier in this interview is it's anybody in the, in the third world and all of these developing countries that have been deliberately locked out of banking.
Yes.
And that's why this is so like you and I talked about this on the phone before the interview, and we both sort of came to the same conclusion of like, you want to believe that AOC and Tlaib and Presley like just didn't realize this?
That's what I thought at first. I said, well, maybe she doesn't understand what's going on.
Right.
No, they have a staff that does research. She's not going to put her name on a huge bill like this. This is her. Graham, they are calling this her landmark bill. They're saying this is her first bill on the Financial Services Committee. So you better believe she read up on it. She went to crypto conferences and met with crypto people. So she understands 100% what this bill is doing, and it is continuing to further the big corporate banking system, and for the little guy, bend over and take it.
And and the other thing too that was in that op-ed piece was the woman who wrote it said they didn't even poll Black people. They didn't even ask these groups. Like one of them is like Black People Crypto Group or something like that. Or that author that you referred me to, I haven't had him on the show, that Isaiah that wrote, what is it?
Bitcoin in Black America.
Yeah, Bitcoin in Black America, how it's this really, Bitcoin is empowering all these people from all these different walks of lives. But like Black America is like, whoa, people are really seeing, you've had like big name rappers come up, say they've put it in. They've been on Joe Rogan talking about it. Like it's becoming a big thing. And so they didn't even ask AOC and Talib and them didn't even ask these. They didn't go, hey, wait a minute. Like, what is this? They didn't poll Black people. They didn't do anything. That tells you the author.
I'm sure they had meetings with some of the large corporate bankers that helped write this bill, because if you are making a bill, Graham, I don't care what it is. Let's say you're making a bill on wheat. You're going to sit down with the wheat farmers of America and talk to them. So you're making a bill out of nowhere. Go onto Rashida Tlaib's Twitter when she announces the bill and look at the comments from Black users. They're saying, no, 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 no. Crypto is a way to empower us. This is a mistake. Please, they're begging, please take it down, reverse it. It's absolutely insane that this is being proposed. And in the name of people of color and people that are impoverished, you're literally doing the exact opposite. You're handing control over to the big shadow bankers. So I am praying that people find out about this and lobby that this does not get passed, because it's doing the exact opposite of what it's claiming to do.
So, what we can do, everybody, if you're out there, first of all, if any of these people are your actual representatives, you better call them and say, I'm in your district. I don't want this. But everybody should be pressuring them. This is the thing. Like AOC said it last week. She goes, we got to make the people in power uncomfortable. Well, she's in power. We need to make her uncomfortable. If you live in AOC's district or Talib's district or Presley's district or this other guy's district, you need to tell them, I will vote against you if you let this Stablecoin Act pass, because this is bullshit. And I'm sure this thing was written by big banks. I'm sure it was. And what makes it even more insidious is they're like, oh, this is here to protect you. It's like the Patriot Act. It's here to protect you. No, it's so that you can surveil us from your phones. Like Edward Snowden told us that. Anytime it's, oh, this is for your protection, or, oh, this deregulation will save you money. No, it won't. It'll help the 1% and those that is in power. I'm so sick of this filthy lies and bullshit. So this is what we all have to do, everybody. We have to use your social media platforms, obviously, but you need to call these people and say no on the stablecoin. You need to email them and say no on the Stablecoin Act, because it only helps big bankers. And they're
protecting bank profits. That's the only thing this act does, is protect bank profits. And Graham, one of the reasons I know for a fact that it's focused on protecting bank profits is because out of all the cryptocurrencies, stablecoins, hence the name stable, are the least volatile. They're the safest. Right. It's not like you're buying some weird, altcoin or new altcoin that, no, these are supposed to be based 1-to-1 to the US dollar. They don't go up and down in price at all. They're just used to lend out and pay interest and commission to you for your money. It's to say that it's dangerous, these are risky. And if you look at the language in the act, which I have read, they use it as a blanket way to cover all cryptocurrencies. And so that's their little in, right? So they say, oh, well, this is about stablecoins, but then there's language in there that says all crypto must go under the Federal Reserve. All crypto must go under FDIC. And so that's the scary thing, is they're really trying to trick us. And then, oh, guess what? Well, we have this digital coin called the Fed currency, and you can use that because it's the same thing.
Yep. And it's just like, and they say, well, some of these exchanges and stuff have been hacked. It's like regular banks get hacked on a daily. Like there's like billions of hacks that have happened just in 2020. And they're like, oh, crypto's used for nefarious things. You're right. And the US dollar has only ever been used to like schools and Girl Scout fundraisers.
There's no cocaine on the dollar or blood or anything like that.
No, none. No one's ever done blow with a dollar. It's never happened. It's never, strip clubs don't use them. It's fine. I get it. Yeah. So you're seeing when something comes along that's this powerful, and when they react this way, this is really like the reaction to crypto shows you how powerful, how they don't want it. Cause it really, and all these crypto people, like Max Kaiser, like I'm watching all these people who are just like, the ruling elites know that their time is up and they're like scrambling.
They are scrambling. It's really scary. There's a lot of other things that the Fed is doing right now that's really, really scary. Just to the average person, the fact that interest rates are so low, they're trying to prop up a zombie economy. That's what they're calling it, zombie businesses, because all of these companies are propped up with PPP loans. All the small businesses are going to fail. And the corporate, large corporations, they're going to have to be bailed out again with taxpayer money. So it's a large wealth transfer. And it's very, very scary what they're doing, because, they're taking from teachers, firefighters, nurses, and doctors, and they're putting them in the hands of very corrupt individuals.
Well, Rosie, thank you so much for coming on our show. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood. You're watching The Political Vigilante. Please hit the like button. I'm here with Rosie Tran. We were just talking about the Stablecoin Act, but I want to ask you this since I have you here. And I'm a content creator, so I need more clips. So I'm just going to be honest with my audience. I need more clips. Since we were just talking about we've had you on the show several times now to talk about the power of crypto, specifically Bitcoin. We talked about the Stablecoin Act. Please, to my viewers, I've just created a new cryptocurrency playlist. So I'm going to put all my interviews talking about cryptocurrency with Christy I, with Rosie, and anybody else. So please check out that playlist. But it's the first, we're in the second week of December. They don't really have a stimulus plan yet. You've talked about there's all these zombie businesses out there that are being propped up, but people aren't even working. We're looking at 19 million foreclosures happening January 1st when the moratorium ends. And this country didn't do rent relief. We just kicked evictions down the road. We've got unemployment probably ending December 26th. They might come up with a new stimulus plan. I don't know. They're talking about giving everybody $600. Oh, wow. Thanks. Wall Street gets trillions and we get $600. Good luck. How do you see, I mean, you follow cryptocurrency. You've been following it a while. I'm about 6 months into it, so I'm understanding it more. But as I'm paying more attention, I'm watching all of these financial shows and talking about how we've been printing trillions of dollars just since March. I mean, like, on top of our economy had all these bubbles before COVID-19, right? So how do you see this okay, Biden's president. Yay, Trump's gone. He was awful, but now we're just more the same old nonsense. How do you see this happening with the dollar and the American economy and the markets? It seems like we're just headed for like a massive collapse, like a huge financial collapse. That was starting before COVID-19, but COVID-19 has just exacerbated it like tenfold. How do you see this playing out?
So unfortunately, I think that what COVID has done is it's exposed all the monsters under the rug. And so now it's showing everything times 20. So it's showing, the stock market is at all-time highs. The average person is at all-time lows. So This is really showing the income inequality and the wealth inequality in America. So personally, I don't know if the stock market is going to crash or not, because it is being propped up by trillions. As you know, trillions of dollars, as I mentioned before, more has been printed in the last 3 months or 6 months than the past 11 years altogether. And a majority of that money went to the ultra rich. and large corporations. So this is why, because I've had people ask, well, how can the stock market keep going up when people are unemployed? Because because of the printed money. Exactly.
It's insane to sit there and watch the news like, oh, the stock market's doing great. I'm like, there's lines longer than we haven't seen food lines this long in America since the 1930s. Like, food banks are tapped, they're maxed out. I tell people, if you have any money or canned food, give it to a food bank. That's the best thing you can do to help Americans right now. And then, oh, the stock market's doing great. Well, who gives a shit? It's like 85% of all stocks are owned by 1% of the population. So who, like,
but this is what's being shown due to the pandemic. So we already knew about all these issues, but now it's on steroids. Mm-hmm. So another issue at hand is that the US economy has ripples across the world economy, right? We are the quote unquote engine of the world, capitalist engine. And so the rest of the world is going to follow suit. When the Great Depression happened and the stock market crash happened in America, and the global recession happened in 2009, it rippled through the rest of the world. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but what I can say for your listeners and your watchers is that they need to get educated. This is more important than ever. I believe a global financial revolution is underway. As you mentioned, the elites are losing power and they're freaked out. People are suffering very badly due to COVID-19, not just the disease, but the shutdowns, economic shutdowns, and the recession that's underway. So the peasants, we have our pitchforks, and we're pretty pissed. So I think that there's definitely going to be a huge shift in the global economy. I know that a lot of that shift is going to be to a digital shift. If you have extra savings, I personally would put it in crypto. This is not financial advice. However, I do not trust the fiat dollar right now. It's losing money as we speak, as they continue printing and printing. I don't know if the US economy is going to completely collapse to the point of, Germany post-World War II. But I do know that not only are socialists saying that it's bad, hedge fund billionaires are saying it's going to be bad. So people all across the financial spectrum are saying, whoa, this is not a good idea. Stop. This is not working. And I think that, Trump unfortunately thought that this virus was only going to last a couple months, and it looks like it's going to be another year and a half, 2 years. So I think tough times are coming. And I really would just encourage all of your listeners and watchers to get financially educated, to protect themselves. Try to put some money in crypto if you can. Again, not financial advice, but learn for yourself. Go online and look up and see what is going on. They're calling it digital gold, so it's a way to protect your savings.
Right.
But I really would be weary of, I think we are at a turning point. Every 100 years, a giant turning point happens. And I think this is this century's turning point.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had a pandemic like this in 100 years. I mean,
exactly.
And we're due for a market, like every 90 years, there's a massive market crash. And we're right on it. I mean, we are right on it. So, like
it feels a little bit like the Roaring 20s, and then the 1930s is coming.
Yeah, it does. And that's the other thing too. And I've mentioned it before on this show, but like when the stock market crashed in 1929, the depression really didn't start to be felt until about 1932. So that's the thing I tell people, like, we just had this complete 6-7 month shutdown, 8-month shutdown, even, and it's still not really opening up. It can't, because the numbers have spiked so bad. And okay, maybe there's a vaccine, but I just heard 6 people died from it. Like, who knows if this vaccine's going to be the savior. So this could, and even if they found a vaccine tomorrow and it works and everybody's healed, there's still so much damage that's already been done. I mean, whole sectors have been wiped out. People have lost money, their businesses. There's going to be all these PPP loans that are going to come due, and I don't know, the government may forgive them or not or whatever, but it's like, this isn't just like a speed bump. This is a huge cataclysmic thing, and it's going to be bigger than what happened in 2008. And so as I've gotten more educated about crypto, and I tell my audience, I get paid in crypto from Rockfin, right? So I've converted some of those tokens to Ethereum and to Bitcoin. I've gotten a cold wallet. I've learned about that. And because I've learned keeping money on the exchanges, keeping crypto on the exchanges, you don't really own it if you keep it on the exchange.
Yes, you should have it on a wallet.
Yeah, have it on a wallet. So keep a little on an exchange if you're doing it's like day trading or whatever, but keep the majority of it on a cold wallet and learn about that. So when you say get educated, I tell people, and then I'm going to ask you where you would send people to get educated. I tell people, first of all, if they're just like, I don't know anything about this, I say, go to Bitcoin 101. It's bitcoin.com's YouTube channel. They literally have a Bitcoin 101. And they just 3-minute, 4-minute videos. They spoon feed you. They talk, and which I needed. I'm like, talk to me like I'm 5. It's like, well, Graham, it's like gold. It's like, oh, like I need to be, like, let's say a horsey has a coin. Like, oh, like that's how I needed to be talked to figure this out. So I tell people go to that one, and then start. And I watch this woman, Crypto Casey. And a lot of these crypto YouTubers have like playlists. She has a bunch of her favorite wallets, her favorite exchanges. I watch this show, The Moon, and I watch Altcoin Daily. And they all have their recommend. Now, the thing is, I started to learn, like I use Coinbase initially. That's what I was told to use by the Rockfin folks. It's the entry level, very simple to use, but it's also kind of like PayPal. It's highly regulated. They're sending, and they can freeze your accounts. And I'm beginning to see too, a lot of exchanges, people are like, oh, try Femex or whatever. Like, well, you can't if you're in the United States, or try.
A lot of things are blocked in the United States and in certain states. New York has blocked a lot of them because New York is the financial banking capital.
Yep.
And so a lot of crypto is blocked in New York, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, you got to use a VPN. I'm just getting knowledgeable about that. I'm not quite, because I want to buy some more Bitcoin. I'm sort of waiting to see if it comes down a little bit. But so where would you tell people, anyone watching my show who, again, is like, they've heard me talk about it, but they're like, I don't know. Like, how would you tell people when you say get educated, where specifically would you tell them to get educated about this?
So I'm going to recommend 3 things. First, I'm going to be a little self-serving and tell people to check out my podcast, Out of the Box Podcast.
Yes.
It's not a crypto podcast, but I do have some episodes where I interview some really awesome crypto people, including Isaiah, who wrote the book Bitcoin in Black America. So check out my podcast, Out of the Box Podcast. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and anywhere you have a podcast. I also would recommend a book called Internet of Money by Andres Antonopoulos. And people call him Bitcoin Jesus. And he is a big crypto guy, Bitcoin guy. He's been pushing it since the very beginning. And I was very confused by crypto in the beginning. I thought, I don't know anything about cryptography. I'm not smart enough. I don't know anything about the banking system. And his book, Internet of Money, changed my mind. It's a collection of some talks that he's done online, TED Talks and other things. And the way he explains it is so crystal clear, I believe a child can understand it.
Okay.
And it's so revolutionary. When he describes it, you really understand it as revolutionary money of the people, not corrupted by war, not corrupted by blood money, not corrupted by the Fed, not corrupted by racism. I think he really made me feel that it was like a people's revolution. So I really would encourage reading his book. And I believe he has a new version of it, or volume 2, which I haven't read yet. Again, that's Internet of Money by Andres Antonopoulos. Okay. And then the final person I would send you to is, there's actually crypto kids videos on YouTube, and there's a couple kids that are crypto kids, and they explain it as if you're like a kindergartner, and they're really cute videos. They're from kids, and it just shows you how simple it is, because I follow a lot of people on crypto and Bitcoin Twitter, and unfortunately, there's a lot of bros on there, a lot of programmers and white men. I think it's white men, but they tend to be more into the cryptography, the blockchain, and more technical stuff, which I think can confuse the average person and make them feel like it's not for them. And so I don't encourage following those types of people, because they talk, again, more about the programming. And so it's very confusing. But if you follow the crypto kids, and the crypto kid YouTubes, just Google crypto kids. There's like tons of channels. They're explaining it as if you're a little kid, and it couldn't be more crystal clear and couldn't be easier to understand. And then you can graduate from there.
Yeah, I think that's great, because I feel the same way. So I've started to graduate a little, and I watched like The Moon and this guy Da Vinci. I watched. They're more for day trading, so they talk a lot in like these charts and ribbons.
Yeah, it's a little too confusing.
It's a little confusing, but I'll pull a little nugget out of each one and I'll go, okay, I got something. I learned a little more, something like that. Like I watch Altcoin Daily, which kind of covers the news, and they mentioned something that made a lot of sense to me, which is the last run up in 2017, all this money. And this is the thing I love about it, because it's blockchain, it's open source. Everyone can see it, right?
Yes.
So in
full transparency, no corruption.
No, yeah, no corruption. Like you can you go ask a Bank of America if they'll open the books for you. See how quickly that works.
They're too busy funding terrorist organizations and saying that Black people are too risky to invest to.
Yes, and they're too busy funding oil pipelines and other fun stuff. But one of the things they said in Altcoin Daily, which is like, the more you pay attention, the more you know, and also watch videos 2 and 3. I've watched some videos 2 and 3 times, because it's like reading a book. The second and third time, you're going to get more out of it. So, they said in 2017, because it's open source and you can see this, all this money was moving from cold wallets to the exchanges, which is a sign that once it got to a peak, then there was a big sell-off. And that's when it peaked at 19, almost 20,000 in 2017. Then there was this big sell-off, right? So the thing they're noticing now, this whole summer of Bitcoin going up from 10 to practically 20,000 again, all of this Bitcoin is moving from the exchanges to cold wallets, which means there's a lot of people holding, which means it's going to grow in long term. I think when the markets crash, and I want to hear what you say about this. My opinion, it seems like if the markets do crash in some capacity, Bitcoin will go down with it a little, but not as much as it did in March. That's just my opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
So the stock market is something that I'm very confused by right now. And I do watch actually a lot of financial YouTube channels, and there's a lot of mixed information. Mm-hmm. So right now there's a lot of fear that a lot of pensions, a lot of 401ks are going to go bust. And one of the reasons is because of the bond market. Interest rates are at an all-time low. If you look at the UK, they're actually negative. And so a lot of these pension funds, a lot of these things are saying that they're going to pay 7 to 8% interest. Well, how are you going to pay 7 or 8% interest when the Fed is pushing 2% interest or negative 1% interest? And so if I was a teacher, firefighter, someone with a pension, I would be very concerned right now, because they're gambling with our hard-earned money, Graham. That's the scariest part. It's not their money they're gambling with. It's your money and it's my money. And we're not having any say in it. That's the scary part. And so with the stock market right now, I really, honestly, I wish I knew. I've been thinking about it day in and day out, thinking, what am I going to do with my, Roth IRA? Because right now I have some money in savings and it's in there. And I don't know if it's going to completely crash because of what's going on with interest rates and what's going on with this fake propped up stock market. I mean, even Elon Musk said that the value of Tesla should not be as high as it is, that there's something wrong. So when, these billionaires are saying, wait, this doesn't make sense to me as a billionaire, something horrible is about to happen.
Yeah, it really feels like exactly. I feel the same way. All these billionaires, all these hedge fund people, when they're saying this ain't right, this doesn't look good to me, I'm like,
this is corrupt even for me. This is too much even for me. So
a drug dealer going, whoa, these guys have crossed the line. Like,
that is what's going on. If you go on YouTube, if you look on any investment channels, which I watch a lot due to, learning about crypto and learning about just other investments to try to protect myself, there's billionaire hedge fund managers on there saying, this is scary. There's Goldman Sachs executives saying, whoa, this scares me. So Graham, this is not good. It's like the Fed went a little bit too far this time, and it's going to catch up in the next 6 months to a year.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people to get informed, learn about crypto, specifically Bitcoin, because if you put a little bit of money, little bit of your savings into Bitcoin right now, let's just say whatever, 5% of your savings or 5% of your retirement or whatever you've got, and all this collapsing shit happens, like all these experts are talking about, the dollar is not worth anything. There's a run on the banks, which has happened recently in Greece and countries like that, where they say, oh, your 10 grand in the bank will only give you 500 in cash. the dollar's not worth anything. All these markets are wiped out. All these debt bubbles collapse. So that, which means all what you're talking about, all of these pensions that they've gambled with, that all goes away. And
it's really sick. It's really sick, Graham.
It's really sick. So that's why I'm like, if you got, imagine if you just like bought a buddy of mine, he watches the show and he's been paying attention. He's like put like $1,000 in Bitcoin in the last month or so. Now it's worth 1,400 or something like that. And I'm like, that's the thing. If Bitcoin goes nuts, because that's when America collapses, Bitcoin is going to go to 50, 100,000 a coin. Some people are saying 1 million a coin. I don't even think about that, but I'm just like, what if it just went from 20 to 100,000 a coin? And now, so you can't get access to your US dollars, but now all of a sudden you got a little something in Bitcoin that like, okay, you're not going to go starving. You know what I mean? Like
yes, you need to protect yourself. And I plug crypto. I've been plugging it, from, I would say a little bit past 2011, 2009 to 2011, I had heard about it, but I really, again, I thought I'm not smart enough. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't have 100% of my money in Bitcoin and crypto. I have a percentage. So it's a way to protect yourself. It's like an insurance policy because these motherfuckers, I don't know if I can say that on your channel, excuse me.
Yeah, you can. I say it all the time.
These motherfuckers don't give a shit, Graham. They do not care. And so if you're okay with gambling away a kindergarten teacher's pension plan, they do not care.
No.
So this is the time to protect ourselves. Again, it's not a dog world. I still have faith in people. I still have faith in humanity. But I'm talking about these motherfuckers that are gambling with our hard-earned money. They do not care.
No, the 1%, the ruling class does not care. Americans, you see, most Americans are like helping each other out. They're volunteering at food banks. They're doing what they're helping their neighbors out. I mean, there was just a bunch of people in Portland just blocked the police from evicting somebody. They're like, no, this ain't happening. So that's why I say like, we have to work together because the 1% is actively trying to screw us. They don't care. They will make money. They will get bailed out by the government. They never held accountable. Obama didn't put anybody in jail. Neither did Bush. They didn't do shit.
They did put people in jail, but they were underlings that didn't have anything to do with the financial crisis. And I want to tell you that that's another game plan, Graham, that they use, because I actually used to work in banking as I was an underling, and they heavily regulated my accounts. I had to fill out forms. There was people monitoring my accounts. But guess what? The big investment bankers, nothing.
Nothing.
Well, so you're going to regulate a $20,000 a year paid employee and monitor my accounts and put me through due diligence and put me through compliance. I make $20,000 a year and I barely have anything in stocks or investments, but the investment banker billionaires, nothing. And so then they can go, look, we're regulating the banking industry because, this poor $20,000 a year employee is being regulated to the T.
It's what the mob does. It's what criminal organizations do. We'll get the mid-level drug dealer because we don't want to find out that the mayor is selling drugs or whatever. Like it's the same thing. We don't want to get the head of the crime organization because you'll see the head of the crime organization has bought politicians and cops and whatever else. So we'll get the street dealer. It's like when they show that photo of like, we captured all these drugs on the streets. Oh, boo, like whatever. It's just like some mid-level guy got it. Just like I
think they arrested 3 people from Wall Street firms, and they were all like lower level, like basically a glorified secretary. It's very sad.
It's like when the head of Wells Fargo was in front of the Senate and Liz Warren gave him that yelling, that stern talking to. This is like 3 years ago. And then no criminal. She just gave a big fancy speech that everyone retweeted. Oh yeah, you go get him, Liz. He walked with $120 million
severance package. Yep.
I'm like, hey man, you can paddle my bare ass with a mallet for 120 million in front of Congress, and we'll live stream it. If I get 120 million, I'll take it. Like
and what Graham's talking about is the scandal where they were opening accounts. Right. And pushing lower level employees to open accounts or they would be fired and punished.
And the head guy gets 120. I mean, it's just the whole system is filthy and rigged. Anyway, well, Rosie, I really appreciate you coming on the show to help educate myself and the audience. So tell everybody again about your podcast, Out of the Box, and where people can follow you online and get more of your stuff.
I'm on Twitter at Funny Rosie. Unfortunately, I'm not that funny these days, Graham. I'm like tweeting so much like serious stuff. So, but I am on Twitter at Funny Rosie. No jokes recently, just craziness because of what's going on. And my podcast is Out of the Box Podcast. I am on YouTube. My channel is brand new, so I have like 20 subscribers. So go check it out. And I also, but I've been on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and all of the podcasts audio listening for over 5 or 6 years. Graham, you're actually my first guest ever on Out of the Box.
Yeah.
And you've been, I think you're the only person who's been on the podcast 3 times.
That's right. Hat trick.
But I have, it's not a crypto podcast, but I do interview some amazing crypto people. It's just all out of the box thinking, anything non-mainstream, out of the system. So I think your listeners would enjoy it.
Okay. Yeah, and check out other interviews I've done with Rosie on my new cryptocurrency playlist on my YouTube channel. You can see other interviews with Rosie. So thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Graham.
You have time for one more question?
I do.
Okay. Because my moderator wanted to ask this question. Hello, everybody. You're watching The Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. We are joined by Rosie Tran, who has a show on Out of the Box and as a YouTube channel. And she's learning more about crypto and knows a lot about it and has helped educate me in this audience. And I wanted to ask you about, so some people have brought up the environmental impact of cryptocurrency, of all the mining and the computers and all the energy that is used to do this, as we are facing, I talk a lot about on this show, climate collapse, or definitely severe climate change. We've had 100-degree weather in the Arctic. We've had all this crazy stuff. So what is the impact of this specifically with crypto and Bitcoin, and how can this be addressed? Because it is a massive, and if the whole world goes to digital currency, that means we're going to need more hard drive space and electricity and internet and broadband, all that shit. So the infrastructure to support it. So what are your thoughts on that, and how do we deal with it?
So I did see Katie's question, and I was thinking about it the whole show. Unfortunately, right now, crypto is very energy intensive. The mining, the computer, the CPU, it does take up a lot of energy. However, I am very, very confident and passionate that the more mainstream crypto becomes, the more efficient things will be. So I bought a butterfly miner back in 2011, and it was just suckling energy. You know, I had it running in my house. It was like shooting hot energy. And as time has gone by, thanks to crypto heads and passionate crypto people and entrepreneurs, the miners are more efficient. They're using less energy. So I believe that the more people get into cryptocurrency, the better things will be. It's kind of like, right, solar panels. So I believe in the 90s, solar panels were very expensive and not really worth it for people to put in. And now they're so affordable, more people can get them and use that green energy. So it was a good question. It is unfortunately right now one of the big downsides of crypto. But I believe that as more people become interested in crypto and it becomes more mainstream, because you have to understand, Graham, a very small percentage of people are invested in crypto right now. Even though you see Bitcoin at $20,000, if you go down the street and talk to your average person, most of them don't even know what crypto or Bitcoin is. You know, I talk about crypto constantly, and I have family members who are like, what is this? What are you talking about? So they don't even know what it is yet still. So I do believe that the ingenuity and the passion of crypto heads, we will see more efficient, more energy efficient, and more environmentally friendly crypto products and mining techniques in the future. There's also, you can mine in groups. So there's different groups you can mine on, where you can mine on the cloud and you can kind of put all of your crypto together. I'm not that technical. My husband's more of the technical person as far as that's concerned, but I know that can be a way to save energy or combine energy. So that's something TBD. But I do think that it's getting better. Ever since I started mining like 6 or 7 years ago, it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, and I think too, I mean, you bring up an excellent point about, so the people that are doing this they're tech people. They're highly intelligent that are looking for constant. I mean, this was a solution to central banking and the corruption of central banking. So they found a solution to this. So I feel like, and who would have ever thought that this could have happened? I don't know. So I think, and I talk a lot about on this show, if that's one of the things we need to reverse climate change, is just get a bunch of really smart people in there coming up with solutions. And I think part of that would be, because people even bring up, well, solar panels are more efficient now, but you still have to extract all these minerals for them, and they're not great on that capacity for the environment, which is a legitimate question to ask. But
Yes.
if we put real time and energy and money into the research of it, which I kind of feel like as Bitcoin and crypto goes through the roof and revolutionizes money, then there's going to be people going, oh, well, let's now we have all this digital currency. Let's solve climate change. Let's put all these smart people together to fix this. And I feel like it's a legitimate criticism, a thing to point out of cryptocurrency. And therefore it's like, good. Most of the people involved in the crypto space are thinking outside the box and want a better world. And so they're not like evil bankers who are like, I don't want to hear about the environment. They're going to go, yeah, absolutely. Let's fix this problem. And I feel like I have more faith in like the crypto community fixing this problem than I do the government. So,
and it is, I just want to say one more thing too, is that I think also it is a valid criticism, and I don't want to make the questioner feel bad, but I think crypto is going to do more for helping the environment in the long run with the type of people who are involved, the revolution that's happening. I mean, the traditional system, who knows what type of horrible and godforsaken, environmentally unconscious things that they've contributed to and supported. Look at the money that goes to big oil and the pipelines and the government subsidies that go to oil,
and the big banks that bank it and profit from it and invest.
Exactly. So I don't want to necessarily, throw rocks at the solution, and I think it will be solved in time.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Rosie, for coming on the show. Please check out your podcast, Out of the Box, and then your new YouTube channel. Does it have a name, or is it just Rosie Tran?
I don't think I have enough followers yet to add. So just look up Out of the Box podcast, Rosie Tran, and I think, you'll find me. I'm the only one.
All right. Well, whenever you want me to come on your YouTube channel, I'll do that. So.
All right. I'm excited.
All right. Thanks for being on the show, Rosie.
Thanks,
Have
Graham.
a great day. All right. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at grahamelwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.